Hi there, in this video tutorial, we're going to give you a brief overview of how you can analyze Schoology assessment data from a student point of view as well as an instructor. Let's first of all take a look at the student view. Students have really two main ways they can view results within Schoology. There's a gradebook view and a mastery view. Let's take a look at the gradebook side of things first. When students click grades, they'll be brought to a screen that looks similar to this. They can go into an individual trimester and they can see the categories. In this example, we have an assessment category and the assessments are listed within that category. Off to the right, they can see the individual score or mastery level of achievement. If they click on the individual name of that assignment, they'll be able to view additional detail. In this screen, they can see the individual score, their grade, and if they'd like to view the results by question, they can click View Assessment. In that View Assessment view, they can see the individual questions. A green check indicates that they got it correct, and a red X is going to indicate an incorrect response. When students go to the Mastery view by clicking Mastery off to the left, they'll be able to see the individual standards and then the individual tests that were given that align to that standard. In this example, this student is receiving a mastery level of a P based off of the average of these individual assessments. From the teacher side, there are also really two main ways to look at assessment data for students. There's a gradebook view and a mastery view, just like students and parents see. Before we take a look at those two options within the gradebook and mastery view, we want to just talk a little bit about grading options. Grading options are to be determined and used by all grade level team members at a building. The entire 5th grade team at a site should be consistent and communicate that to families. Let's take a look at these three main options that you can discuss with your grade level team. The first option is to keep grades in Schoology and transfer just final grade to Infinite Campus. The second option is to keep grades in Schoology and choose selected information that you'd like to place in Campus. And the third and final option listed here is to keep grades in Schoology and replicate everything in Infinite Campus. Please talk with your grade level team and choose the option that fits best for you. Now let's take a look at that gradebook view. From a teacher side, you'll be able to see the gradebook view. All of the assignments are listed across the top and then the individual scores. If you'd like to view more detail for a particular student's assignment, you can click on the puzzle piece and it'll take you into a deeper dive to view data analysis. If for some reason you don't see an individual assignment listed in the list here, you want to make sure that you have the correct grading period selected and the correct category as well. If you've chosen those and you still don't see it, you may want to go to that test setting and make sure that you have assigned it to a category and the correct grading period. Now let's shift gears to Mastery view from the teacher side. When you click that Mastery button in Schoology and you float your mouse over any one of the individual standards, a little pop-up will show up here. In this case, we floated over L5.4. We can see 18 out of our 22 students have mastered it, and you have an individual breakdown by who has exceeded, meets, and does not meet those individual standards. There are two other additional views of data you can get by clicking some buttons within this particular view. You can click directly on the standard to view more detail, or you can click on the student's name. We're going to take a look at those two options next. Let's pretend you click on the standard. It'll bring you to a view that looks very similar to this. This view is good for determining final grades to be entered into Campus for the trimester. So for example, I clicked L5.4, so now I see the overall mastery levels that have been calculated based on those assessments that are aligned to that standard. If you click on the student's name, you'll see a breakdown for that student, again, by standard and the individual assessments that have been averaged to give you an overall mastery level grade. In this example, for RF 5.3, the grade determined here is a P based off of these individual standards, or these assessments rather. In some cases, if you've given lots of assessments, you may need to scroll to the right to view all of them. A green star indicates that at one point in time the student did master the standard for at least one of the assessments. Let's talk a little bit about reporting the final trimester grades in Campus. There are some differences between math and ELA. For the math, the standards are the same as they are in the report. For math, the standards are the same as the reporting standards in Campus. For ELA, you will need to use the ELA standards grading rubric to combine multiple standards to form one reporting category in Campus. A link to this grading rubric will be provided to you and an email. There are really three main rubrics that you'll use and assign to the individual assessments that you deliver to students. There's the EL Standards Base Scale. This should be used with standard large-scale assessments. The EL Rubric Scale, a 4-point scale, this scale should be used with rubric-based assessments. And then finally, the EL Formative Scale. This scale would be used when assessing formative work. If you're not sure where to select those rubrics, when you click on the cogwheel in your test settings, there's this grading scale option. When you click that down arrow, you'll see those three options that we just discussed listed here. This is also the screen that you put in the points and the individual category. We thank you for your time. Good luck grading.